Hello everybody, my name is Torque, and today we are taking a look at the Star Wars Ahsoka, Anakin Skywalker, and clone Captain Rex. Now, the versions of these characters are Phase 1 of Captain Rex's armor and the Clone Wars design of Anakin. So let's get them out of the box and we'll take a look at them. But before we do that, take a look at the boxes. On the side of the box, we have some artwork depicting the characters. On the back of the box, we have a little description about them. So you can pause and read that and get a little bit more information about these characters. But Alright, we have Anakin and Rex out of their boxes. Excuse me. We're going to take a look at the Anakin first because he has the least amount of changes to him. And so I have, for comparison, the first release of this body, the Clone Wars Anakin, but this one has hard plastic instead of soft robes. So that is one of the biggest differences between them. So if we pull them closer, so this Anakin has soft goods for the waist cape and for the chest robes, but his arms and legs are the exact same. So here, let me pull the old one closer. So as you can see, his skirt is a hard plastic, does still have soft robes underneath, but then his chest piece is also hard plastic that is of the same piece as his chest armor, and the shoulder pads are not attached, but the arms are the exact same, just with different paint. So not a lot of difference between the two Anakins other than the soft goods and the face. This face has the likeness of Hayden Christensen, whereas the other version is based off of his look in the Clone Wars TV show. But since I don't have a video on that Clone Wars Anakin, I will take a look at this Anakin's articulation. So at the shoulders, we have a hinge that goes up and down and can rotate. The shoulder pads are a separate piece that can rotate. So if you grab it, it can go about halfway. The shoulder pads themselves cannot go full around. And then at the elbow, we have a single joint. It can go to about there. And at the wrist, we have an in and out hinge. On the left side, same thing. In and out hinge at the hand, single cut elbow. Then at the waist, there is some movement at the waist. The belt kind of hides it, but let's see if we can get the robe. So about right there is a cut for the waist, which can go back hardly at all, but it can go forward a decent amount. At the neck, we have a swivel, and both the neck and head have a swivel. You can look down that far, back not very much, and then side to side. And then down the legs, he has double knees because these legs have been in circulation for Anakin figures since the very first release in the Black Series line. And so the double hinge at the knee, you can go back that far. And then we have a swivel at the thigh, right there. A little tight because it's brand new out of the packaging. And then at the feet, we have a back and forth hinge with a toe rocker. And so overall, not a huge amount changed for him other than the fact that he has soft goods, which in my opinion, this version is better because the soft goods don't get in the way, whereas with the Clone Wars one, they're stuck in a static look. Whereas when you pose the new one from the Ahsoka show, they move out of the way and bunch up, giving it a more lifelike appearance. And one of the concerns I had from the promotional images was the length of his arms, But that is just how the figure is. His arms aren't like monkey arms where they're longer than his torso, or they don't go all the way down to his knees. There is a fair gap, which is about the same as the other Anakin. And so it just was the angle of the promotional pictures. He doesn't come with much. He only comes with one item, which is his lightsaber, which is the same model as the Clone Wars one, but it is painted in a silver instead of a flat gray. The blade is also darker. If it will focus, there we go. The blade is also darker compared to the Clone Wars release, which was a lighter blue. And the silver is also much shinier on the new release. So he's able to hold the saber well. It just slides into his hand like that. He is able to get, because of the articulation, he is able to two-hand the saber like that. So you can have him doing like a block or whatever. There also is this peg on the saber hilt that can go into the peg hole on his belt, so you can hang it in a neutral stance. And so that's about it for the Anakin. Now the Rex is the one that has the most changes to it compared to the older release, and I have that for us here today. So here is it's a re-release of the first release Rex. And so it's his phase 2 armor, so the armor is different. Put his helmet on. So they are side by side. And as you can see, the new Rex has a hard plastic karma versus the old Rex's soft goods. And this is a case where I prefer the hard plastic over the soft goods, because the soft goods just always look messy. And so I'm not going to do a comparison of articulation between the two, because this one is completely different, whereas the Anakin was exactly the same for the most part. Well, let's pull Rex in closer. And so this is using the 3.0 clone body. So he has single hinges at the elbows, can go back that far. He does have an up and down for the weapon holding hand, which is nice for people using blasters or rifles, stuff like that. Whereas the in and out hinges are better for like lightsaber wielders. They're able to get into the two-handed poses a lot easier. And so he does have his pauldron, which is a loose piece, so you can take it off if you wish, or if you don't like it being loose, you can simply just glue it at the chest and over on the back. So at the shoulders, he has an in and out hinge, but the shoulder pads do get in the way, so you want to be a little bit careful of bunching those up because they will dent. But he is able to go all the way around, and on the clone body, the shoulder pad is able to do a full circle, whereas on the Anakin, it was only able to go halfway. Then at the neck, he has the neck is also a separate piece with his head, which he can go all the way around. He can go down that far, back that far, and then a side-to-side tilt. So at the waist, he has a crunch that far back, that far forward, and then side to side. At the knees, he has a single hinge, and the knee pads are glued, but you can break them free to make them actually move if you want to do that. So then he has a swivel at the hip, but he does not have a thigh cut for another swivel there. So he's only able to go about that far out. And then at the ankles, have an in and out hinge, and then a rocker. So the articulation is nothing new, as it is just a reuse of most clone bodies of the newer releases, which I have some here today. So there he is side by side with the other Phase 1 clones. He fits in perfectly, which I like because up until today I was using the Phase 2, which stands out a lot. The one thing I will say about this figure that I do not like is the color choice for his hair. Now, Captain Rex does a buzz cut, and so his head should be very light, kind of like the old release, how it is just a very light blonde, because he shaves it down, even though it should be blackish, but that's just how the animation was. Where on the new release, it's this mustard yellow, and it is very kind of gross looking. And so the helmet covers it nicely, and he looks really good with the helmet. And if you want to display it without the helmet, you could swap the heads or paint it a softer yellow or a white, because that's in the show it was closer to a white. Because if we take the helmet off of another clone, it is black hair, and since they all technically are the same person, it shouldn't be a very mustardy blonde. But that's the only big gripe I have about it. Otherwise, it's just the normal, like the pauldron does prevent some action poses, but because there's a nice big cut in the back, he is able to pose somewhat. It moves nicely out of the way, and he can get into a kneeling pose, but the way the new bodies are, there isn't really a good way to get them to kneel. That's about as... Is he gonna stay? Nope. That's about as good as you can get for the most part. They like to tip over though. So, yeah, but typically he's standing. He doesn't kneel very often, but you could have him just sit down. His karma does prevent him from sitting fully, but that's just a downside of having hard plastic versus soft goods. But for me personally, having soft plastic on a karma piece like that is better than having the messy, always like moving soft goods of the old releases. He also does not come with very much. He simply comes with his 2 DC-17 blasters. These are the exact same that come with every other clone, and he does have these holsters, which they are a lot bigger and deeper than on older releases. It kind of swallows up the whole blaster, versus on older releases and how in the Clone Wars they were just the shape of the blaster itself. But that's how he was in the Ahsoka show, is he had these really big, long, deep holsters. But it doesn't detract too much from the figure itself, and he is, in my opinion, this is Captain Rex for me. The Phase 2, that's just Rex. So, oh, and that is one thing about those old Anakin ankle joints, is they are very loose, so getting him to stand straight or on one foot is very difficult, even with stands like this. So, but that is the looks at the new Ahsoka TV show, Anakin and Captain Rex. And for comparison, I'll bring back in the Walmart exclusive Clone Wars release, and then the original Phase 2 Captain Rex release. So there you have it. And for one last shot, I have brought in Clone Arc Trooper Echo and 5s, and that just completes the collection of my 501st Phase 1s, because then I can just sprinkle in some shinies, which are clone troopers who don't have like markings or anything on their armor. And there we have it. There is my Torrent squad. So thank you for watching. I hope this video was informational, and good luck out there.